Without technical difficulties.
Nope.
All right. Can you guys try now?
Okay, hello.
Can you hear me?
No, Evelyn is still quiet. Let's go ahead and go Brian while Evelyn figures out her sound.
You're pretty quiet, Evelyn.
Is that better?
Oh, you know what? It's a problem on my end. My volume just decided to mute itself for absolutely no reason. Thanks, Black Magic keyboard, or not Black Magic, Razer. It's a Razer keyboard.
Yeah, hang on. I may need to also yell at Razor.
Well, in the meantime, Brian, go ahead and do your introduction if you haven't already.
Yeah, my name is Brian. I'm playing Ensign Yezebeth Hage amongst other characters. Particularly for this session, I'm playing Kendall Oniat. And the only thing I have to promote is Star Trek opinions that make people angry.
Right. All right. Ev, has you got your sound working yet? Because I can edit some of that out. Yes, that sounds good to me.
All right, cool.
Go ahead and start over for you.
Yeah. So I'm Ev. Find me on TikTok at Caffeinatrix. Every other weekend, you can find me over on St. Pete by Night on Twitch, where we stream our 90-plus person vampire game. We stream Cork, so there's not that many people. But check us out over there.
Thankfully, it's not many people. There's a lot of people. That's 90 is a lot.
90's a lot.
So. All right, Jack, go ahead.
Yes, hello, I am Jack, and I say many more words than other people. Yes, you could, I do other things. You can find me over on my own channel, twitch.tv/The People's Ascension, and actually I am hosting this here. So if you're seeing this, you may already be here, which is great, because Jeff has been so kind as to allow me to include this as part of my month-long charity drive. You may notice down here, there is a bar that is showing donation goals. That is because throughout the month of July, I am holding a month of one-shots charity drive for reproductive rights and abortion access. This is not a one-shot. This is the continuation of our normal show, but that doesn't mean we can't keep raising money for very important cause. So I have this hosting on my channel. If you are over on my channel, you can scroll just a little bit down and there is a little banner you can click on to make donations. That'll send you to a donation page, and I will be keeping track of those. Normally, any donation over $25 would create some sort of fancy thing throughout the show, and we'll see if I can convince Jeff to do that. Otherwise,
I'm totally for it. We just got to have a time when you and I can get on and I can put all the stuff into OBS.
Yeah, we'll work on something. We just kind of thrown this together.
Yep.
But yes, keep the donations coming. Keep telling people about everything else that is going on. And speaking of everything else that is going on, if you can look just in my little box over here, we have the continuation of the first week of our month of one shots. Tomorrow, Wednesday, July 6th at 7:30 p.m. EST will be a whip workshop episode featuring Alchemistresses by Allison Cole. That is a magical girl high school hijinks game, and it looks amazing. It looks great. I never really got into the magical girl thing, but I know people who have, and just reading it, it looks magical. So I'm excited to be talking to her about that. And then on Thursday, I will be playing Dragons of Imelda with the creator Kat McDonald, who also made Heroic Chord, which we featured on season 2 of RPGs Uncovered, which you can find on our YouTube. That is at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. EST on Thursday, July 7th. That's me playing Baby Dragons. I'm going to play Baby Dragons, and it's going to be adorable. But we're not doing that today. Today we are playing some Star Trek, in which I play Captain Irani Ambrose, as well as other interesting characters like Lieutenant Tong and Lieutenant Jisha Shajin. And
I swear it almost sounds like you can't pronounce her name.
Jesus Shajin. I got it. I got it.
No, you did. It just sometimes her
Dorian.
name just sounds like
Yeah.
it can't be pronounced.
Yeah. It's
It's
weird.
Andorian. She pronounces it however she wants.
Yeah.
If
It's
you want
right.
to fight her about it, that's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
But as I recall, I'm unconscious with some sort of psychic shared hallucination or something.
Yeah. Yep. That would be Ambrose is currently unconscious. Ambrose, Dasavi, and Kendall are all currently unconscious. I almost said
Well,
extinct.
after last week in the marathon sprint of setting this all up, I was kind of also unconscious in a migraine hallucination. But I'm excited to see what we get up to today.
Awesome. I'm your game master as always, Jeff Harvey, and you can find me and at all the places at Studio Tembo. There's a link in the link. There's a link tree in the stuff below. Also, it'll be in the chat, I should say. It'll also be in the show notes. There were supposed to be some episodes that got up. They're done, and they were uploaded to YouTube, and then YouTube decided to scrub them. Of the 2 most recent episodes of this show, they are being uploaded. I just uploaded one of them again today. The other one I'll upload after this episode. If they are done, they're there. They're up for audio if you want to listen to them on audio. But the last 2 episodes of the show will be available, edited versions, whenever YouTube decides to hate me a little less than YouTube hates me. With that in mind, I want to make sure that everyone, if you're watching the show, please feel free to go over to Jack's channel and watch it there. Donate. It's a good cause. I fully support it. And we want to get some more integration with our site, with our stream here. We just ran out of time today. So let's go ahead and jump right into the stuff. Let's go ahead and do a recap for those who have missed the last session. Whoever had notes, I know Jack said he did not have any notes, or did not have much in the way of notes. So what you got, Ev?
I got the notes. All right, so we picked up on the planet. There's a heavy ion storm rolling in. Kendall saw a she saw a figure, at least Borg or Borg-like, that seemed to be moving with the storm and harnessing the it was a Borg ship.
It was a small ship,
like
yes.
Little, yeah.
A one-man craft of some sort. Quote unquote one man.
Yeah. A one Borg craft that was harnessing the power of the ion storm. We managed to move the shuttle with cargo jacks, thanks to Kendall's brilliant idea. Lisa managed to alter the shields to reduce the risk of detection, and succeeded in matching the shuttle's ion solution to that of the storm. Back up on the bridge, we picked up my note is very garish looking fighter. The marking and signatures didn't match anything we've ever seen, but it did.
No, we recognized it as the Bishari.
Yeah.
The Bishari.
It took a minute, but you guys were able to recognize it as a Bishari.
Yeah, it wasn't anything in our regular databases, but with the stuff that Beren had been working on, we ran it through her universal translator stuff and identified it as Bishari. It appeared to have warp and strong phasers on par with the Peregrines. We chose not to open a channel. It scanned us and then warped out.
I believe that happened pretty much right while we were implementing our shooting our homing "we're here, come find us" Borg calling device down to the planet.
Right.
I mean the rescue beacon.
Your Borg beacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Borg beacon. Yes. Yep. Simultaneously decided we were going to send a communications retrofitted torpedo into a communication station, and if the crew on the planet didn't respond in 24 hours, and abandon them.
Seems legit.
Right. Sleep. We don't need those people.
There's the Garrus looking fighter for those of you who did not see it. Some of you may recognize it if you play old video games, but
Tavi suggested we head to the Europa as close as we could to the wormhole and try reaching out telepathically. The captain brought his large PNR crystal and an altar onto the bridge, and as Yezbat and Tong, after they converted the torpedo and sent it out, we did our psychic thing. Well, that was all getting set up. So back on the planet, my notes are Kendall tense, Jisa indifferent, O'Connor anxious. Jisa gave O'Connor some work to do to distract her and try and bring her out of her anxiety, and told Kendall if she wants to be in command, she needs to get her shit together. Kendall says, "You'll know if my shit's not together." Jisa says, "Well, then you need to keep her shit together." I did not do that exchange justice, but it was fantastic. Jisa tried to explain that, O'Connor is not used to this kind of stuff, give her work to do, keep her distracted. Kendall wasn't terribly receptive. And then that brings us back to the bridge, where we launched the torpedo, or open the wormhole, launch the torpedo, Borg hailing station communication thing, and the captain and commander reached out telepathically. Dasavi was getting strong empathetic connection to they both, Ambrose and Dasavi, had a strong empathetic connection to each other. Dasavi started feeling flashbacks of Ambrose's being stranded and alone and waiting for rescue. Could feel O'Connor and Jisa and the void that is her poor, tortured daughter. She tried to send them a sense that they have not been forgotten and the Europa was coming for them. And as she was reaching out, couldn't connect with Jisa and O'Connor. She started to shift her focus to Kendall, who started to instinctively push back against the invading force in her mind, at which point there was a bright flash, a sensation of torment and agony, almost overwhelming aloneness and abandonment, pain alone, and fear nothing will ever be right, a sense of strained calm trying to come in. They heard a nursery rhyme as they all passed out. We went to red alert. The SSH appeared on the bridge, and Silva called for medical.
All right. Anybody want to add anything to that?
No.
All right. When we resume, the red alert is activated on the ship, on the bridge. The SSH has appeared. I believe that that would actually leave Mills pretty much in charge at this point.
Yep.
The captain is lying on the ground. The first officer / doctor is also lying on the ground. What are you guys going to do? What is Mills going to do?
Silva had already called for medical.
Yes.
Yep.
And the SSH has appeared. So, Jack, did you have something you wanted to start with the SSH?
Please state the nature of the command emergency.
Yes, something to that effect was said at the end of the last episode. Yeah, jumping right into it. I was putting my Ambrose face on. I forgot I needed to put my SSH face on.
Your Ambrose face is a little slack at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So the SSH appears on the bridge, and I think he does turn and survey the room. And if I remember correctly, this is a pretty young-looking command staff right now.
Yeah, yeah. Although Mills is lieutenant, I think, right?
Yeah, Mills' lieutenant has been in for a few years at this point.
Okay, I think I always think Mills is younger than you've made her.
Silva's a lieutenant too.
Mm.
Yeah, Mills just missed the. No, she was kept out of the Dominion War by her dad. So she was around for the Dominion War. She was in the fleet, but her dad was like, "Nope, you're getting his ass job."
Mm. Yes. So I think he's going to look around. There's not many people on the bridge, right? It's Silva, it's Mills. Is Yesbeth here?
Probably, yeah.
And then there's probably like some random red shirts milling about.
Yeah, there's definitely people
Yeah.
doing the jobs.
Yeah, so I think the SSH just materializes, walks. I don't remember the bridge layout, but walks down, not to the captain's chair, but down into like the main bridge area, and probably because he can keep track of all of these things. Looks over to Mills. Status report, Lieutenant.
He pauses for a moment.
You're wasting valuable time. There's a medical emergency.
I'm aware. Medical has been called for. The captain and the commander were attempting to reach out to the planetary crew.
Do we have reason to believe that this is a psychic attack?
At this point, we don't know enough about any of this to know what's happened. It could be a psychic attack. It could be simply they overexerted themselves. It could be something with the wormhole. Until medical arrives and is able to give us a clearer picture, it's impossible to know.
Sensors, have anything changed with the anomaly?
Jezebeth will say, we'll glance at the fact that she's talking to the hologram, and then but say, no, nothing unusual. The other ship has left our scanners. The daisy chain is fully operational, and the Eagle is on its way to the planet. It's homing in on their signal now.
Ensign, please do another scan, broaden out for anything abnormal. And SSH, I do appreciate your assistance. However, the captain did leave me in charge.
I'm not sure the captain is fully aware that my experience in these matters far exceeds your own. Does it not make sense to have somebody who is used to running a much larger facility with many more people for much longer amounts of time than a newly promoted lieutenant?
You are welcome to take that up with the captain when he is able. However, the captain's last command was that I was in charge.
He's going to shoot her in the back.
Well, Lieutenant, a proper chain of command is important to these situations.
It is.
How would you proceed?
You have a good start. Ensign, any response from the scanners?
I'm running a full spectrum analysis now. It may take a moment. Jeff, do you want me to roll?
You can go and roll. Difficulty 0.
Okay.
Bridge to medical, what is your ETA?
The appropriate time in the scene.
Yeah, I think she answers as she comes out of the turbo lift. I'd say right about now, if I had to guess.
Excellent. Thank you. Lieutenant? Delphine's lieutenant?
Yes.
I don't
yes, yes. Oops. No, that's right. That is one success. The ship also is on that scan.
Yep. The ship got a 1, so
2 successes then.
3 successes.
3 successes. Can I spend 2 of those successes to add a complication, to add a disadvantage to any ships trying to move through our area unnoticed?
Yes.
Okay.
You do not detect anything abnormal otherwise.
Okay.
I mean, there's lots abnormal. Nothing new abnormal.
Everything's in the green, Lieutenant.
Excellent, thank you, Ensign.
So no. Sorry, I just wanted to just say Delphine is quickly getting about doing her work, ignoring everything else on the bridge, and she pulls out one of them plastic things that go on their heads that does the pretty lights in a sequence, and begins scanning their brains.
All right. Either control or reason and medicine, please. Difficulty is 2.
Would internal medicine apply to this?
Yeah, theoretically, for what? Yeah, because you're basically just doing diagnostics at the moment. So yes.
Sure. I also have imaging systems, so that might apply to it. Well,
No, that wouldn't apply here.
Fair. Okay. I'll spend a momentum. So that's 2 successes.
2 successes. All right. They are their minds, as far as you can tell, their minds are still linked. They are absolutely unconscious. You do not see any way to bring them out of it at the moment.
I'm detecting abnormal brain activity. They are conscious and alive. They don't seem to be any life-threatening danger, but I want to get them to bridge, run some further, I want to get them to sick bay, run some further diagnostics. She'll call for an emergency medical transport, and have the 3 of them, including herself, beamed down to sick bay.
Okay.
Keep me apprised, Lieutenant.
All right. They're now down in sick bay. Anyone else have anything they want to do on the bridge?
Ensign, anything back from that probe yet? Or not the probe, the telecommunications torpedo?
Not yet. Although it would probably have landed by now.
Sure. Yeah, it's landed. We won't hear back until somebody interacts with it by design. So now we play the waiting game.
Very well. We'll stay at red alert. Keep an eye out for any threats, anything abnormal.
Okay.
All right. Let's jump down. You know what? Let's go from there to the credit roll, and then we'll come back to the shuttlecraft. All right. We're back in the shuttlecraft. Kendall, who's currently away from the screen. Anyway, there he is.
I'm here.
Jisa and O'Connor are witnessing. You guys are doing whatever it was you were doing. I think Jisa was standing guard, as I recall, and O'Connor was kind of hiding in the corner. I don't remember what you're doing.
No, O'Connor had been put to work doing. I want to say rations. What the brain says. I don't remember.
Either way,
Basically taking
Doing a
inventory.
thing.
inventory, right? That's what it was, right? Either way, while you guys are doing your things, Kendall has a loud scream isn't the right word, but makes a gasping noise and then
Anguished cry?
falls to the ground. What's that?
Is it anguished cry?
Sort of, yeah. It's a
Well,
stifled cry, really, more than anything else. And then falls unconscious to the floor. What are you guys gonna do? The storm is still raging outside. It is still not a great place to be.
Yeah, I don't think Jisa has any medical understanding.
Neither does O'Connor, but she is going to, in a fairly uncharacteristic for her, kind of just start, like, it's like her mind has clicked into place. And she grabs Kendall's tricorder, because Kendall had the medical one, right?
Mhm.
And we'll scan Kendall.
All right, go ahead and give me a roll.
By one medicine. It'll learn nothing.
O'Connor's got 3 in medicine.
Oh, this is the wrong character again. Hold on.
Science!
Right? I thought that was weird. Like, why would I have not made her science medicine instead of, yeah. Oh my god, stop. I hate this program. I'm trying to expand it, and it's just like moving with the mouse instead of, yeah. Oh, that's so much better.
I hate when that happens, where it gets stuck on the mouse.
Reason? Insight?
Reason.
Okay.
Difficulty is 2.
Okay. I'm going to spend one of those women.
Momentum spent. I need to pop this out again. I forgot. How do you pop out the chat? I forgot.
Double click it, I think.
Yes, excellent. The jumping back and forth between the chat and the other thing.
Does her using a medical tricorder count as her having equipment for the purposes of advantage?
I factored in already.
Okay.
So 2. So you quickly detect that there are abnormal brain waves in Kendall's readings. So it appears as though, in addition to her own wave readings, there are 3 sets of other readings.
3 other sets?
Correct.
Or 3 sets total?
3 sets additional. This is something that Delphine will also get when she gets him down to sick bay.
Okay.
The delta wave, the delta waves or whatever, some other fancy delta type thing. There are 4 distinct sets of delta waves in each person's mind.
He looks confused and kind of smacks the tricorder against her hand again, runs it again.
Yeah. Readings come back exactly the same, slightly more scrambled because you cracked the screen or something. Tricorders are very durable. They did. No, tricorders are very durable. You're fine.
Lieutenant? She has 4 sets of delta waves.
I assume
ran it
that's
twice.
I assume that's abnormal.
Yeah, you're only supposed to have 1.
Okay, what do we do about that?
I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus is just gonna try to get Kendall. We're kind of cramped in this class 9, but try to just get her laid down in a more stable position.
Right. Okay. She gets laid down.
The Borg have to do things to assimilate you, right? That they can't just.
I don't think this is Borg.
He scans Jisa.
Okay. Scan comes out normal. She's, unless Jisa, protests the scanning, comes out normal.
She wiggles her antennae abrasively.
Right. Disconcertingly.
Herself.
Yep. Scan comes back normal.
All right, we have the right number. I don't know.
We can't do much trapped in here.
No.
About that time, you see in the distance what looks like an incoming missile. And your what limited power you have in this Type 9 shuttle, the sensor begins the console begins flashing a communication relay, and as the ion storm picks up, as not pick up, but the ion storm is pretty heavy. While the missile looks like it's heading directly for you, and your sensors are indicating that there's a torpedo incoming to your location.
Jisa grabs O'Connor and just dives on top of O'Connor and Kendall.
Okay. There is no impact. You do not hear or feel any impact when about the time that you should. When you look back up, check out the console real quick, and you can see that something has landed and is now broadcasting some kind of transmission, a Starfleet transmission. It's probably about 2,500 yards from where you currently are.
2,500 yards?
Yeah, that's not that bad, really. It's like what, half a mile?
Margin of error.
It's within margin. Plus ion storms. I needed to be far enough away to do something.
All right.
Jesus spits out some sort of Andorian curse. Stands up. The hell is this? I can't go out in that, can I?
I don't think anybody can go out in that.
Your science would indicate you can go out in it for short periods of time. You wouldn't be able to stay out in it for super long, but you could probably do, an hour or two.
Do we bother with EVA suits and shuttlecraft anymore?
Theoretically, I believe in the in-game system it requires you spending an escalation. Theoretically, they should have EV suits. I mean, that it makes sense for them to have EV suits, but for some reason, no one in Star Trek ever uses an EV suit.
Right.
I will say that they are probably damaged. I will go ahead and spend a threat to say that the EV suits you have are damaged. Were damaged by when you use the phasers. They singed the compartment where the EV suits were kept, and they are no longer intact.
Yeah, Jesus is going to go over there and start pulling at these damaged EVA suits. Somebody needs to go out there and turn that off, because that is a Borg homing beacon. And that someone's got to be me. Here, put this on, Kendall. It's not going to protect long, but it should be long enough for me to open the door and get out.
And if you don't come back, you can't survive.
If somebody doesn't turn that off, we have minutes before the Borg decides that it's lonely and wants to make some friends.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
before it finds it's lonely and wants to simulate some friends.
She's putting the EV suit on as she's arguing, but
Yeah, I think Jisa is going to help get Kendall in this suit with whatever space age duct tape we have available to patch up any minor holes.
can I try to help with my tiny bit of engineering?
I mean, Jisa is somewhat of a field engineer as well. I don't know if that was something we really needed to roll for. It's mostly just flavor.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. I was checking out a text. What was you were trying to do? What?
Just get Kendall in the suit and help patch it up as best I can with whatever space age duct tape we have available.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can do that. That doesn't require anything.
Yeah. It wouldn't last out in a storm for prolonged times.
No.
When I open the door, it's all going to come in through the door.
Right.
There's no airlock in Type 9s.
No. All right, so you're stepping out into the. You guys can get there in the suit. No problem. You can get everybody in the suits without too much difficulty. I mean, it would actually be very difficult to get someone in an EV suit while they were unconscious, but whatever. You guys are trained. You're stepping out. Jisa is stepping out into the wild blue, ion storm.
Yep.
All right.
I have a tricorder to try to find my way through this ionized mess, and I have. Do we have a functional phaser?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. All right, cool.
We lost all 3?
Did you have 3? Oh, well, you probably have a Type 1 phaser.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, you step out into the blowing winds and rain-like substances, and the heavy ion interference and whatnot. Your tricorder is working, but it's obviously limited in range. You can only just barely make out where the thing is. You're guessing in this kind of weather, it'll take you 15 minutes or so to walk to it. And then however long it takes to do whatever you need to do out there, and then 15 minutes walking back. You figured you got about an hour before you start having exposure effects. Although not deadly necessarily at an hour, but start suffering some ill effects. It's cold. It's very cold, which doesn't really bother you.
Good.
That's kind of a bonus. But yeah, your sensors are your tricorder is definitely limited in range and scope of what it's capable of doing. There is an environmental complication that would add one difficulty essentially to any scan rolls, any sensor rolls as well, any detection of things in the atmosphere or on the ground type rolls. So you begin making your way that way. Meanwhile, back in sick bay, Define has go ahead.
I just want to note we can do this after we do this scene. I just want to note that O'Connor is going to want to try to see what the beacon is saying and check that out and all that. Well,
right.
Well, Jesus making her way out.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It's definitely a message from the Europa. Well, not message from. It's actually a relay back to Europa, with a modified and more intensive, more focused communications beam.
Okay. Can we respond to the relay?
You'd have to do it because of the interference. It either has to be closer, or you have to do it from where the thing is.
Yeah, this is why Jisa left to go deal with that.
Right.
Oh, I get you.
Yes, that is the thing that Jisa's going to do.
I thought Jesus was just going to turn it off.
Well, when she gets there, she may discover there are more.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's skip the sick bay first and let's go straight to the other thing. Dasavi and Ambrose, you find yourselves lying on the ground. Everything is a little blurry around you. There's some sounds you can't quite make out right away. Things are blurry and hazy. You can definitely feel each other's presence. You can also feel a pressure pushing you away, and another pressure that is kind of pulling you towards whatever is trying to push you away. So it's kind of this conflicting wave of pushing you back and forth. There's another pressure that is also there that you can't really make out, but it feels almost like you can hear something in the wind, but you can't quite make out whether or not you are hearing just the wind or something else. It's difficult to make out that last thing. As you begin to open your eyes and regain your bearings, Brian, go ahead and describe what they see.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is a beta Z in a. Well,
The planet Beta Z.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Ev, where do you think that Desavi raised Kendall? We should figure out what their home looked like.
This would have been something to ask me earlier in the week. So
Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about it earlier today, and I don't think Brian. I reached out to everybody but you. So.
Well, thanks.
And I like coming up with things on the fly. So,
my Star Trek poo is not that good.
Don't worry about getting it right. Just make it interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you were raised on Beta Z, you just describe what the home was like, basically.
Yeah, definitely raised on Beta Z.
At least for this particular segment.
Yeah. Yeah, was raised at least in the smaller, younger years on Beta Z. The girls did spend, until probably the Dominion War, the girls would have spent time on the ships that Desavi was assigned to in family quarters, so they would have grown up between the planet and Starfleet. And then when the Dominion War happened, she sent the family back to Beta Z.
Okay, well then maybe this is at Beta Z when Desavi is about to return, and maybe this is this is what the home was like when you came back from the Dominion War. And I believe Beta Z was hit by the Dominion.
It was occupied.
Yeah.
Yep.
So so maybe their home is intact, but other ones around it have just been decimated by fighting. And you recognize the house as sitting there on a block of other houses, ruined. You probably remember what it was like when you came home and saw that this is what your family was living in the midst of a war zone.
Yeah. The children are playing in the front yard, or at least, there are children playing in the front yard and around. There's this definite smell of old fires and things like that from the houses that were destroyed and whatnot. Ambrose, you can see all this as well. You get the distinct, the harsh impression of what the Dominion would have done to a place like this, what they did here.
I think the building has begun. People have returned to Beta Z.
Right.
It's still half ruined, but it's Starfleet and the Federation is not going to drag its feet on rebuilding Beta Z.
Right.
So and so I think as Jeff said, the kids are playing. As kids will do, come hell or high water, they will find a way to play. And so in front of this, maybe let's say it's a fuchsia colored house with burned up plants in the garden, young Kendall at like 10 years old is, I think that timeline checks out. I'm not sure.
At the appropriate age, which is roughly 10-ish.
I think probably
she runs over to you and says, "You're back. I can't. They said you would be back, but Jenny said that said that you weren't, but I told them you'd be back. I told them that you were, because you calmed me, and I'm so happy to see you. And she just like grabs your legs.
Commander?
Dasavi is looking a little bewildered and what's the word? Reminiscent is the word I want.
Nostalgized.
Yeah, nostalgic. She kind of reaches down and puts her arm around young Kendall's shoulders. Of course I can. Nothing in the world can keep me. Where's your sister?
She says, they're in there, and she points to the house. They run into the house for reasons unknown. Kendall grabs your hand before you can get too far, and she says, "I want to join Starfleet when I grow up. I want to go with you on your starship."
Starfleet would be lucky to have you.
You would note that, because we did this incorrectly, but this plays in just fine to what I wanted to do.
Okay.
It's only been 2 years since the end of the war, so that age doesn't really work out, but
Yeah.
that is still what you're seeing.
Yeah. So you would know that this is a bit. This is not exactly how things transpired.
Right.
What is our mental state in this sort of dream? Do we feel like we belong and will play the part that we think is correct, or no?
You feel just
have
normal.
our own minds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Commander.
Captain. This is my oldest, Kendall. Kendall, this is Mommy's friend, Ambrose. And she just kind of looks at you with a, I don't know what, you know what, you don't need to do that. She just telepathically, I have no idea what's happening here.
Yeah, you guys are completely connected for this. You feel each other's emotions. You feel everything. You are completely connected in this. So you definitely can share your feelings and telepathic connection.
Yeah, and I think in this dreamscape you can also feel Kendall's connection. So
separate from the young child.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think you are able to recognize that she recognizes the captain, and you see this young person quickly salute in a Starfleet perfect salute to Ambrose. But then the childlike personality takes over, and she says, "I'll go get the others. They don't want to see you. It's been so long."
Run along.
She dashes inside and disappears.
Right. You guys can, you can see the surroundings.
Do I have a phaser?
Sure. You didn't,
Okay.
but you didn't when you first woke up, but you look down and you have a phaser.
Okay.
As you're looking around the where you're at, things don't look quite right. They feel bigger than you would remember, or bigger than to scale they would normally be. And also, like, the distance seems like, as you look out in the distance of the planet, things look more hazy and not really present, kind of almost like the heat waves. If you're looking through, like, on a concrete slab, looking through the heat waves at something beyond it. Ouch. Anything you guys want to discuss before we move on?
Dasavi will turn to Ambrose when Kendall runs off. My best guess is we're in her head.
Can you give me any reason why? Or better yet, how to get out?
I'm not entirely certain on either account. It could have something to do with the wormhole. I've personally never tried to reach into someone's mind through a wormhole. I don't know that it's. I don't know of anyone offhand who's done it. Who knows what impact it could have? It could have something to do with whatever has been blocking her telepathy. Something could have happened to her on the planet. It could be any number of things. As to how to get out, if I don't know. If it has to do with whatever has been blocking her, it's harebrained, but stay with me. We might need to help her work through whatever this is to get out. Whatever defense mechanisms she's built could be keeping us here.
Okay. I'll follow your lead.
Very well. We will turn and go into the house.
Okay. As you enter into the house, there is a distinctive shift and change. But before we get to that, let's go back to the sickbay. In sickbay, Define gets the same, sets up the scans and gets everything started. You and your staff are getting things underway. You detect the four distinctive brain patterns, all in each of Dasavi and Ambrose. You can distinguish pretty quickly that there is, they are the same brain patterns in each of them. So it's, the same minds in both of them. What would you like to do?
You said that I detect four brain patterns. Am I able to make distinction of each of the brain patterns? Figure out who's who.
Yeah, give me a medicine roll.
So I'm going to try and match their wavelengths versus Starfleet records to determine who is who. I will spend a momentum.
Okay. This would be.
Ooh, that is a fumble. 2 successes and a fumble.
All right. So a complication?
Yep.
2 and a complication. All right. You managed to make out, you can separate Ambrose's and Dasavi's for certain. And you can see those both in there. You can also pick out Kendall's from previous scans when she came on board and things like that. So there are those 3 for sure. And one that is completely unknown. It is not, it does not fit with either human or Beta Z.
I think Delphine is going to create a wavelength, by a holographic display in the air, and she's going to flick through the crew, trying to find somebody that matches up, because it doesn't make much sense that there would be something else caught in the wake. But once she realizes that it doesn't match any of the records, she'll play with her chin and she'll go, "Who are you?" And then yeah, maybe she'll try and start working on a way to separate that up.
Okay. Anything anyone on the bridge wants to do?
I think largely the bridge is waiting.
Okay.
Waiting, scanning.
I would say the SSH is probably doing the rounds, going over to all the different consoles and standing like behind people, looking down at the consoles, waiting a little bit, making some noises, and then moving on to another one.
I think Silva's going to turn to look at him. Can I help you?
Just keeping an eye on the situation, Lieutenant. Carry on.
Where is Mill standing?
Aye,
Are you still at your tactical station, or have you taken the command seat?
I think in the little power struggle, she would have taken the command seat and called Koba up to security.
Yeah, Silva's going to say, if I ask you to get me a new pillow for my quarters, will you stop hovering like a worried nanny?
I can perform both of these tasks at the same time. One of the
She
many
rolls her
benefits
eyes.
that my program has over you organics.
She rolls her eyes. Great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Perfect.
All right. Back down to the planet. Jisa, you are making your way through the terrible weather. You can see out in the distance, maybe 100 or so yards, you can see the torpedo. It is from what you can tell from this distance, it is a standard Mark 7 torpedo with some heavy modifications. Basically, there are lights where lights shouldn't be. There are legs that don't appear to be particularly useful at the moment because of the way it landed. But it is upright, and there is a section that has opened that would not normally open, that has opened into what you can see from here as a glowing blue light, probably a screen of some kind. As you make your way closer, give me an insight and security roll.
Okay.
Your difficulty is 2. I'm sorry, your difficulty is actually 3.
Okay. Jisa is not terribly insightful. Fortunately, she does have some security. Okay, you said difficulty 3?
Difficulty is 3.
Would my focus in electronic warfare help at all?
Not in this case. That's not what you're looking for. You're observing your surroundings.
Okay, I'm just observing my surroundings. We have 2 momentum. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of those.
We have 2 momentum?
You did. You have 1 now.
Oh, okay.
What do we got? I
Mine
got 2.
doesn't actually show me how many we have. It just shows two tokens of each.
Oh, there should be like 4 or 5 tokens of the red alert ones, and then you're down to 1 token. They're down to the bottom corner.
Yeah, you have to scroll down.
Yeah.
Yep. I see.
Yeah.
That is dumb.
It's the only way I can do it here, unfortunately.
No, I know. It's not a you problem.
So 2. As far as you can tell, everything looks good. The walkway to the path to the torpedo. The torpedo is stuck in some rocky ground, but the path up to it is pretty easy for an Andorian to get to. You can make that final 500 yards pretty quick if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna go ahead and make your way that way.
Oh yeah.
All right. You get to the torpedo. No stumbling, nothing like that, and you can see that there is the torpedo has a communication screen built into it that has clearly been cobbled in there. And it has a direct connection to what looks like some kind of daisy chain relay directly into the Europa's comm systems. So you have a direct communication line to the Europa.
Does it look like it's penetrating this storm?
It does.
Okay. What is the interface here? Is it just like simple keyboard? Do I comm?
It's a standard comm panel that you would see anywhere else. So you have visual, you have whatever else. The transmission is going through. There is some garbling, but it is connected to the Europa directly. So
Okay.
You could use visuals if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna raise the communication real quickly. Full visual audio. Requesting radio silence. Board detected on this planet. I will check back later. And immediately shut it down.
Okay. On the bridge, you get an incoming message.
I think Silva puts it immediately on screen, and we see an up close of Jesus' face as she hurriedly tells us about the board.
I think wearing an EV suit, right? You are wearing an EV suit.
I don't think there was a point to wearing one since it was
Okay.
damaged. She just
it wouldn't do a
went out.
lot, but
yeah.
So okay. So it's Jesus' face. There's the terrible ion storm going on. She says the things, and then before you have a chance to reply, terminates the interface.
Can you repeat the message? I was playing catch up on notes and was not caught up yet.
Requesting radio silence. Board detected on the planet. I will check back when the storm is over.
Elizabeth will say, well, at least we know they're alive. Do I have an approximate location of the landing?
Yes. Yeah, you can tell directly where the thing is at.
So we know where they are. Now the question is, how do we get to them? And should we... Wait, did you say the board?
Did.
There's no record of board activity in this area. But
not in this area. Where are they? Pull up where we have a list of like known Borg sightings.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, in the Alpha and Beta quadrant, absolutely. In the Delta quadrant, not so much.
The people on the ship figured out that the wormhole leads to the Delta quadrant.
Correct. You are aware that it's in the Delta quadrant.
Okay.
Okay.
I read that bit, yeah. Well, looks like they've expanded.
Elizabeth, her face. Oh, you know what? No, actually, I think this is Silva, who is going to turn to look at Mills. Lieutenant, I need to speak with you a moment. Can I speak with you in private?
Of course.
I would suggest before leaving the bridge that we deactivate the wormhole so that any Borg presence cannot make their way back. We will not be hearing from them for some time.
Mills will turn to Yesbeth. Ensign, if we deactivate this wormhole, we can get it back open again, right?
Yeah, we've got it down to a science by this point.
Excellent. I think that's a good suggestion.
So Silva's going to walk into the conference room with Mills, and she's going to say,
she'll say, hold on.
The SSH, as soon as Mills gets up, walks over to the chair, sits down, and calls an ensign over to take Silva's place.
Before he can get there, she looks at Koba and says, you have the bridge.
As he's moving to sit down.
I don't think Koba's there, but I think he can say that to, I just don't want to add another character to the scene, but I think he can say that to Yesbeth. There is precedent for ensigns being put in charge in bridge in non-emergency situations.
I believe that is a tactically unsound command, Lieutenant. Your position of power was granted before there was a crisis. I am the next logical choice in command.
Hold for a second. So, Brian, I know you don't want to add another character to the scene.
Okay.
Logically, Mills would cut Koba up because they're essentially leading security.
This is the worst game of musical chairs I've ever played.
Sorry, love.
Okay, so fine. He is in charge. in any case, Silva is going to walk in the conference room and turn around to Nils, and she's going to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that the Starfleet Protocol Omega 449 says that if any transwarp conduit is found, now I know this isn't technically a transwarp conduit that we know of, but protocol does dictate that we close it immediately to prevent any Borg incursion.
For the moment, it's closed. Borg have not detected our people.
We don't know if it can be opened from the other side, though.
How do you propose we permanently close a wormhole?
That I'm not sure about, but I think we should begin finding a way too. If we can get them rescued in time, great, perfect. I want them back as bad as anybody. But if the board find them first, or if we can't get them back, then we need or either way, we'll need to be able to close this thing to keep any board from coming through. And I suggest we be quiet about it. Nobody's going to want to leave crew behind.
Correct.
Look, I know this is a shitty situation for you. You didn't wake up this morning knowing you'd have two crew members' lives in your hands, and true crew members and an entire ship of people with their lives in your hands. It's not fair. Nobody expected this, but you've got to step up.
Right. Let's just hope they wake up before we have to make the big decision. Appreciate your guidance, Lieutenant.
It's what I'm here for. She reaches out, she puts a hand on Mel's shoulder, gives it a squeeze, and she says, "You got this."
So nod and head out of the conference room and into the ready room. She'll kind of indicate for Silva to go back to her station.
Yeah, Silva will go back.
She will try to get a hold of the Admiral.
Okay.
Whoever our direct admiral is, I don't remember. I know Mandy Patinkin.
Yes, Mandy Patinkin. All right, we'll come back to that. Jisa, as you've shut down the communication systems, you've managed to disable the probe. It didn't take the torpedo communication system. It wasn't hard to do. You recognized Tong and Yazabeth's handiwork. What are you gonna do next?
I'm gonna make a little dot on my tricorder map system so I know how to get back here, and I'm gonna book it away.
All right. You begin heading down the trail, and as you come to one of the corners, you encounter
the briefing room.
The briefing room. No, I need to see if I don't know how to make this go to you guys being able to view it.
Some strange alien dog creature.
Some strange alien dog creature.
We can view it. It's on Roll20.
All right, good.
That's not okay.
It's pretty big. It is probably about 300 to 400 pounds on a rough guess. It's a pretty big animal. Small horse sized. It is not looking pleased.
Does this match the description of the tracks we found earlier?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that foreshadowing paid off.
Yes. Then let me go ahead and pop this out so I can do things. Since in Star Trek, initiative is who goes first is decided by the game master. I think it's appropriate that this thing snarls at you, and that is your turn.
Okay. You said we're in some rocky terrain.
Yes.
Is there any place I can shoot that might cause a small rock slide down on this creature,
Probably not down on it.
or
It's
at least in its way?
probably you could certainly shoot the rock that it's standing on. Maybe have it tumble to the ground. Which would throw it off balance, obviously.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Right. Okay. Difficulty is 2. That's not directly at the creature, so that doesn't apply. Go ahead.
All right. Daring security, I would assume.
I think it is daring security. Yes.
Okay.
Might be control. Let me check and make sure it's not control. That's tasks.
I think daring is actually for hand to hand, or would that be fitness?
One of them, one of them is fitness, I think. You must declare it's lethal or non-lethal. Doesn't matter. You're shooting rocks. To make an attack, you make an opposed daring and security. If the difficulty is 1, that's for melee. For ranged, it's control and security.
Okay. Okay, control, security. Outside of my my Peregrine, geez, it doesn't have much working for her. Okay. Yeah. What did you say the difficulty was?
Difficulty to shoot the rock is 2.
Okay. I'm gonna hold on to that momentum for when this thing rips my throat out. Let's just see how this works. There's the 2.
2 success. Okay. Hits the rock. The rock explodes underneath the phaser, and the creature begins to slide down the hill. I spend a threat. And it, as it's beginning to lose its, as it appears to be losing its footing. Get my words right. It leaps, and it leaps an unnatural distance. Let's see, like 36 meters from where it was. Not that far, but it looks like it could easily do that. And leaps towards you, which will be its attack as well. I will give it disadvantage because of the rock shooting. And it will make an attack, which is going to be daring and security because it's a melee attack. You get to counter that roll, so it's a melee attack. So you get to roll your. It's opposed, so it's opposed by your. I think daring and security as well, or I think I allowed fitness and security for that as well.
Okay. No, I'll go daring and security. I'll punch it back, I guess. That's 1.
1 beats it. And you basically have 2 momentum to be able to do anything you want with that. So you basically succeeded because it was off as it leaped at you. It definitely didn't get the full leap. Wasn't going to land quite where it wanted to. You have 2 momentum that you can spend on anything you'd like to do for this defensive action, which really is not like you could create advantage, or keep the initiative, which doesn't really apply. Or swift task, which would be allow you to take another action, but increasing the difficulty by 1, which would not count towards your actions.
Okay. Yeah. If I can take another action, I think that's the way we'd go. It'd go back to my initiative anyway, so I don't need to retain that.
Yeah. So you'll basically get 2 actions in a row.
Right. You said create an advantage. Could I use that to like blind the creature? Can I just like pick up a rock and smash its eye in?
Sure. Or some dust or something, throw something in its face. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. As it leaps towards you, you manage to find, you stumble a little bit and you grab a handful of like loose gravel and rocks and dirt and whip it into its eyes, and it will have a disadvantage on its next attack roll. It gets in the eye. The creature kind of shakes its head a little bit and growls menacingly. It's one of those growls you can actually feel it, even through the storm and everything else. You can feel it rumbling in your chest and stomach. It creates a very fight or flight response almost immediately, or pretty much immediately. Your action.
Yeah, so fight or flight when it comes to a horse-sized alien dog creature, I think I'm going to go with flight.
Okay.
But I don't think I can outrun this creature for the half mile through an ion storm. So I would like to see if, because this thing is as big as a horse, and Shajin is not.
Right.
So I want to try to find some place that I can throw myself into in this rocky terrain, some small cave, some pile of stone that's just big enough for me to get into.
Okay.
I want to hide and hunker down.
Give me an insight and security check for that one.
Oh boy. Insight. Okay. Which of my many sheets do I need? This is it. All right.
This would be to find a spot that you can jump yourself into.
Yeah.
Difficulties 2.
Okay. Yeah, insight, security. I'm going to take a momentum there because I don't want to get eaten by an alien dog.
Last momentum.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else for this. No, all right. One in a complication.
So that fails. So you, as you're going through, you see a spot that you think might work, and you run for it. You dive in. You drop your phaser as you're going through. As you're making your way in, you slide into the spot. Your phaser is just a little bit out of immediate reach. You could grab it, but it's not in immediate reach. The dog thing jumps down to roughly where a few feet from where you hit the ground and slid in, and it begins stalking towards you. You note that after a few seconds, its front legs are quite long, and as it growls and rushes towards where you are, it reaches in like a cat playing under a door and swipes at you. The complication was you dropping your phaser, obviously. 1 success. That you can go ahead and make your attempt to not get hit. That's a counterable roll. So it would be either daring or fitness and security. Difficulty, right? Well, if you roll less than a 1, you're hit. If you don't roll less than a 1, we can go from there.
I rolled exactly a 1.
All right. So you managed to like drag your legs in just enough that it's out of reach. It swipes a couple more times right away and can't seem to get to you right that second. It pulls its leg back out and looks into the general hole where you're at, and you have an action if you want to try something.
Okay. Yeah, it just stuck its face in this little kill box I created. I don't have my phaser. I assume getting my phaser would be in action.
It would be an action, and you'd have to go past the creature because it is now standing between you and the phaser.
Right. So I'm kind of cornered at the moment.
Yes.
In some hole that's not quite deep enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's deep enough for the moment, but it won't be and it won't be probably in a second.
Yeah.
You can see some of the as it was banging around trying to get to you, could see some of the rock above it sort of coming loose. It's not enough to do like any kind of harm, but clearly the protection of the rock is not as solid as you had hoped it would be. This thing could probably break. If it breaks a couple more inches of rock, it'll be able to reach you.
Right. There's not really precedence in Star Trek for us to carry any sort of sidearm or knife or anything, because that would be too smart.
Not generally, no.
No.
Hold on. Andorians have a dueling culture, I think it's reasonable that she could have carried her a dueling blade on her for ceremonial purposes, if nothing else.
I know that that's one of the options you have to choose for a main character, though, I believe.
If you want to throw some threat my way, I would not be necessarily opposed to, you've got that there as an escalation.
I'll do that. Yeah,
Right.
I'll do that.
I'll take 2 threat for that escalation.
I think Jisa definitely would have a, what are they called?
The Andorian knife, which I don't know I do not remember what they're called.
Something. Anyway, it's that curved thing.
No.
The Ushan? Yeah, so it's something like
that.
Yeah,
the Ushan Tor.
Yeah. I always imagined that she would have one. That's just she did not get it as part of the character creation for a secondary character. Sure. So
but that's where escalation comes in.
Yeah, nice. I'll pull that out from behind my back, and it's stuck its face in this hole, and I'm going for the eyes.
All right, give me a roll. This actually gets to it gets a free advantage when dodging.
Great, of course it does. Okay, daring, security.
I shouldn't say free advantage. It gets a free die is what I meant to say. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Can I give you some threat for another dice?
Sure. You just want one more?
What is the cost? Is it the same as momentum?
Same as momentum. So it's 1, then 2, then 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I don't turn the table here, things are going to go real bad real quickly. So I don't think it's going to matter how much threat I give you. I'll buy 2 dice.
2 dice is 3 threat. Go ahead.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have any fancy talents or anything that's going to do this.
Support life of the support character, man.
Okay. I don't think we're that desperate yet, so I'm not going to pull that just yet. All right, let's go.
Go ahead, make the roll.
That's 4.
All right, you succeed with 2 momentum. So that's an attack. You get 2 momentum. You can do any of the things that the momentum can do. So that's piercing, re-roll any dice, which you don't need to do. Additional damage. You can't disarm it because it doesn't have that ability to be disarmed. And so on and so forth. I don't know if you have that sheet in front of you.
Yes, it's been a long time since we've had any sort of combat.
Yeah.
So I'm having to remind myself where on this gigantic cheat sheet.
So if it's
there it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's page I think 3 on the Canic cheat sheet. For anyone who wants to find it, it's the Canic cheat sheet. I do not know where I found it from, but it's Kannik.
It's pinned in the chat.
Yeah, for us. I meant for people listening.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, you can't access our chat. Sorry. For you people.
Okay. My intention here is, I know this is a wild animal. It has self-preservation instincts. If I show that I can hurt it enough to be not worth the meat on my bones, it will leave. So I would like to do that. Is there a momentum spend for alphaing this dog?
You would have to do damage to it. You'd have to do hurt. You'd have to hurt it. Yeah. It's about the only way you're gonna be able to do that. This creature definitely doesn't look like it's something that would give up easily. Also, it does look to have some level of armor plating on it. So
okay. In that case, I think I will go with piercing to ignore 2 armor.
All right, that's 1. Do you want to do that twice or just want to do that once? You have 2 momentum. That costs 1.
Right. I mean, does it look like this thing has 4 armor?
I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, it looks heavily armored, but not like doesn't look like a dinosaur or anything. Well, it does look like a dinosaur, but I mean,
oh well, I could do 1 for penetration, which is what it is for an attack, and then 1 for bonus damage. I'll do that.
4 is a lot of penetration. Is a lot of penetration. 3 would still be a lot. So you're gonna do that one bonus damage and penetration. Go ahead and roll damage. I don't know how much that knife is supposed to do, but we're gonna say it's roughly. These are all rifles. I don't have any knives. Let's see. The knife or dagger normally does 1. But let's say it's a sword, essentially. So we'll do 2 damage. It's probably vicious as well.
So that is 2 plus security, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that would be a total of 5.
Probably has vicious 1. I am certain this weapon is in one of the books, but I do not know where it is.
It is, yeah.
I think it just counts as this blade.
So that is 7. Yeah, I did it as a sword, which is what the like the sword of the mechleths are that. So I assume this is akin to a mechleth.
Well,
that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's listed as literally the sword, mechleth, ushantor, etc.
So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2. So 7 damage and 2 effects. The effects you can do because the weapon is vicious. I'm assuming it's vicious for the moment. Would be you could do 2 additional damage.
Yeah.
So that'd be 9 damage. Let me find the sheet here.
Plus the one I bought.
Plus the one you bought. So 10 damage and minus
piercing.
the piercing. Yeah. So. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it is still standing. It is definitely cut. There's some blood that spurts out of its face. Let me see here.
Yeah, but she's just gonna let out the loudest like Andorian war cry as she just slams this spade-bladed knife into the creature's face.
Right.
Pain and loud noises. She's trying to make herself as intimidating as possible.
Right.
Love it. Can you tag her Andorian quality to get an extra +1 on that?
I don't know. Can I? Is that something I could do?
According to the rules, if your species would help you in something like that, then you can.
Right.
Yeah, Andorians are trained martial combatants. She's used this ice pick weapon from childhood.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that you've already made the roll, so I'm not sure it would help. But yes, I would. Okay. That would definitely apply there. You do 2 injuries to the creature, or you would do 2 injuries to the creature. It has an ability that has its own threat. I'm going to use its threat that it has to avoid that injury. And yes, okay. So you stab it. It hits in real hard. If you can feel the knife bite, you give the Andorian war cry, and you know for a fact that should have done a significant amount of damage to the creature. As far as like, if it was a normal animal, you'd have probably just driven the knife through its brain. However, what it does do is the thing recoils back, and starts shaking its head where the weapon is stuck in. The weapon comes out and goes skittering across the ground. It takes another look at you and then determines that it is probably not worth it at the moment, and moves off quite quickly, much faster than you would, about twice as fast as you would have expected a creature of its size to move.
Yeah, I think she just instinctively like goes and grabs the nearest largest stone she can, holds it up, and is just like leaning back against whatever she's cornered at, just huffing and getting ready to attack if she needs to.
Okay. Back in the minds of the other characters, we'll leave Chisa doing that as she is trying to catch her breath.
Before we get into that, we take this doggo needs to go outside break.
Yes, give me 1 second to figure out how to bring this back up. Let's go ahead and take the standard break, and we'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, I still have some Girl Scout cookies, so I was eating some of those.
I have the cookies that April brought last night.
Ah, the girlfriend cookies.
Yes, the girlfriend cookies.
All right. No one's gonna understand the girlfriend cookie reference. That's okay. So last we
Laura will
left
get
off.
it if you ever watched her stream.
Well, she doesn't watch. So when we left off, Jisa had just finished fighting off a not nice creature that would have eaten her had it gotten an opportunity. When we come back, let's go ahead and jump into the. We'll start with the sick bay. You are picking up an intensified. The brain scan that you are doing, the delta waves begin to intensify on the Kendall and mostly the Kendall front, but the Savi and Ambrose, there's also are shifting slightly. You can see that on the screen as it goes by. Not much you can do, just a thing. In the dream world, as you guys step through the door into Dasavi's home, where Kendall had run into, you find yourselves standing in a familiar place to Ambrose. It's cold, it's dark, it is carved out of solid rock. It is clearly the Jem'Hadar internment camp that you were held in. However, in front of you is not Jem'Hadar or any of that stuff. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I think you see a pack of cadets in front of you, wearing the Starfleet uniforms with cadet pips, indicating that they're in training. They rather than being in prison, they're acting like they're pretty relaxed, talking about their next course in advanced tactics, advanced three-dimensional tactics, and Kendall is among them, and again, you can feel her mind open, and she's talking with one of them, and she's like, "Oh, David broke up with you. I'm so sorry. I, and she's just oddly attentive and empathetic at the moment. But it does not suit the situation at all. They're standing in a prison queue, or they're standing right next to a fighting pit where they had prisoners, but they don't seem to notice the fighting pit or the Jem'Hadar standing around at all.
One of the Jem'Hadar comes to attention and says, "Captain on deck." All the cadets stand up and look towards you, Ambrose. They do their.
Savi just looks at Ambrose with a raised eyebrow.
Am I still armed?
Yes.
Okay, so there are actually Jem'Hadar here.
There are what appear to be Jem'Hadar here. It is everything is the same as the prison camp you remember, except rather than the prisoners, you see what looks like cadets just lounging. Well, I mean, they were lounging. Now they're standing at attention because someone said "captain" on the deck, which is a typical thing that would happen if a captain appeared in a cadet situation.
But not coming out of a Jem'Hadar.
Not coming out of Jem'Hadar.
Okay, and in this headspace where how bombarded are we with our own emotions and memories and each other's emotions and memories?
Fully.
Are they just kind of baseline available, or are each of us being actively assaulted by sensory and emotional overload?
So you're actively being hit by Kendall's emotions. You guys, the two of you, are on a baseline where you would normally be. Like, you are aware of what's going on, you can see everything that's going on, but your personal emotions are not. You can feel them in each other. Like, you can feel Dasavi's emotions, she can feel yours, but it isn't like anything supernaturally rushing in to fulfill the scene's requisite emotions. It is whatever you want them to be, and however intensely you want them to be, really. The only thing you really feel is there's the three pressures. There's the pressure of something pushing you out, trying to get you out of this, out of, not just out of this location, but out of Kendall's mind. You can feel it's clearly like, get out of my mind kind of thing. There's also something that feels like it's counter to that. It's pulling you towards, almost calling for help, pulling you towards Kendall's personality or whatever. And then there's a third one that's kind of just, again, it's just kind of back there. It's a constant pressure. It is more intense now than it was in the first room, but you can't really, you still really can't make it out. It's almost like, again, it was someone yelling into a windstorm. You can kind of begin to hear it, but you can't make anything out.
Yeah, so I think, well, everybody, but definitely Dasavi, gets this real quick flash of, well, fight or flight again, and Ambrose almost always defaults to fight. An immediate, intense survival instinct kicks in just real quickly, and he goes for his phaser. But we established in season 1, after breaking Koba's arm, that in a very similar hallucinative state, PTSD state, that he had been speaking with Dasavi and other counselors, and there's been counseling involved. So I think he grabs his phaser instinctively and gets it out of the holster, powers it up, but doesn't get it to a firing position before he looks over at Dasavi. All right, this one's mine, and I really don't like it. This isn't right.
No.
And he is watching each of the Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, they appear to be just like everyone in the room is kind of waiting at attention, as if they were a cadet group, waiting for a higher ranking officer to address them, except the Jem'Hadar, who are kind of milling about in the background, like almost like you would expect proctors or something at the academy to be doing, like just bystanders who are not part of the academy class, just going about their daily business.
The Kendall in this scene, is she age appropriate, or is she still the 10-year-old?
She's age appropriate.
Okay.
Or at least closer to age appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a step towards the Jem'Hadar the one that called out captain on deck.
Mm-hmm.
Status report, soldier.
Captain, the cadets are ready. They're awaiting your inspection, sir. They have recently completed their training for this phase. We're prepared to move on to phase 4, which you would notice is like a PT phase. It's, probably second or third year.
Okay. He'll nod at the Jem'Hadar and walk over to this line of cadets, and he never completely turns away from the Jem'Hadar, but he's going to play along with this at the moment. Going to go over to each of them and present himself like he's inspecting the cadets.
Mm-hmm.
Gets to Kendall. Number 1, what's your opinion on this cadet here?
Kendall looks eager, and I think she looks at Dasavi like a daughter would look to her mother. So it's remarkably familiar gaze and a comfortable one.
Wow, he just drank nothing. That was amazing.
Yep.
So it's a Mountain Dew then.
It's a Sprite.
Okay.
Void Sprite.
Yep. All right.
Dasavi will look her over. Uniform is in order. Posture is good.
Do I make you proud, ma'am?
You do. Carry on, cadet.
Her smile is brighter than it's been since you've seen her recently. She's just delighted to have your approval.
The Jem'Hadar snaps to attention again. Cadets dismissed, and the cadets turn and move out of the room. You're now left essentially in the room with that. Again, now that Kendall has left the area, everything begins to feel distorted, kind of off kilter, almost like it's beginning to rotate ever so slightly. And again, like you're looking through the heat vapors on a highway. One of the Jem'Hadar pulls his weapon up and charges towards Ambrose, and then it snaps to black. Let's go back to sickbay again. You note that there is an intense spike in Ambrose's cardiology. Like his heart rate jumps high up, and his adrenaline is racing. While you're doing that, though, you also feel Dasavi's. You can see some of Dasavi's numbers going up as well, and you did note that that strange, unfamiliar signal, that unidentified brainwave from before, begins to move into a larger percentage of the quarterly pie there, whereas it was quite a bit smaller. It was farther away. It was harder. It was less obvious. It is now beginning to take a stronger influence, but it only is doing so in Ambrose's on Ambrose's chart.
She'll quickly begin forming or she'll grab a hypospray, quickly set it to 40 cc's of cetocalane, and she'll begin. She'll say to the holographic waveform that's still in the air, she'll say, "I don't know who you are or what you're doing, but you're not going to harm my crew." She knows that it can't hear her, but she's going to use that determination to try and boost the mental activity of each of boost the mental activity of first Ambrose, then Dasabi, to try to make it so they're back on equal footing.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a medicine roll.
Okay.
I would say that you probably have the right tools at hand for that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Defina's got internal medicine. Internal medicine would apply.
Okay.
Because you're while you're trying to do, at least with the medication, you're trying to maintain heart rates and everything else, and
Yeah.
signature waves and that kind of thing.
I will go ahead and offer you a threat.
I will take it because I'm about to use a whole bunch of them, I think.
That's 4 successes.
All right. With 4 successes, you see the change in the heart rate. It goes back down. You manage to stabilize their biological functions, and the that percentage of the pie goes back down. So it's still not a quarter, because it wasn't 4 equal quarters, but rather than that one that was unusual getting larger, it waves back down. O'Connor, while you're in the shuttle, you're sitting waiting. You see the signal goes out on the torpedo thing that was earlier. You see that it has been shut off. You also note that there was a transmission sent from it. Shortly thereafter, a few minutes after that, Kendall starts not having a seizure, but her respirations get really fast, and you can see that she's moving a little bit more, like twitching, not seizing, but having slight muscular contractions.
Yeah.
And after a few seconds, you bust out your little scanner, and you can see her heart rate is up and all that. And the four brain waves are there, but one of them is diminishing substantially. Then it kind of all stops and normalizes.
The one diminishes?
Yeah, it diminishes a little bit.
Okay. Can I tell which one? Or
you hadn't really
I tell
identified
if
the
it
4 of
shares or
them.
not?
You hadn't really identified any of them because you
Okay.
didn't have the equipment to do that here.
Got you. Makes sense.
And you can't interface with Eva at the moment.
Right.
At which time, I assume Jisa was on her way back after catching things up. The hatch to the door slides open really fast, and the wind comes in, whipping as you're standing over Kendall, and Jisa steps in and shuts the door behind her. There's some blood on her face and on her clothes, but it doesn't necessarily look like it's hers. You can't see any immediate injuries.
Tricorder to turn and scan Jisa.
She sits down, rips off a section of her uniform, as they do, and starts cleaning off her Ushantor.
Oh, there's the tatters of the Eevee suit.
Any change?
She twitched a little, and the delta waves, one of them decreased some, but she's back to normal now. Well, new normal, I guess.
All right. I sent out a message and turned off the beacon. With any luck, the Borg didn't notice or won't be able to trace it back here.
Which
Feeling
point I'm going to
particularly
spend
lucky
some
today.
threat. Just after you finish saying that, the proximity alarm goes off on the shuttle.
Shit. What can we see on sensors?
You note that there is a small Borg vessel heading your way. It is moving quite quickly, and it is not alone. There are There's a slightly larger, almost like one of those reconnaissance scout cubes that they found Hugh on, coming with it.
Okay. We have no propulsions. What's the status of our weapons?
We have a phaser.
Like
the
ship
the,
weapons?
the ship
Oh,
weapons.
ship weapons.
You probably get a shot or two before you run out of energy.
Would it mean that we wouldn't be able to fly?
You could either fly or you could fire phasers. You probably couldn't do both. You could maybe fly a little bit and fire a phaser and hope that you have power enough to get to space, but chances are pretty slim.
Oh, well, okay. I thought we established before that our flight capability was gone after we used up the phasers, and even with that, we were not breaking orbit.
It's mostly zero. Essentially, what you could do now is, if you really had to, you could probably reroute the phasers into the engines and take that power and get some more. You're not going to get far. You did use the repulsors to get yourself into and under this thing. So it's one of those things, like your chances of actually flying are pretty slim. Like, you could probably get it in the air if you wanted to, but something's gonna get damaged and you may not make it to orbit. And if you got high enough and didn't make it to orbit, there's no way to slow this thing down from crashing.
We're not outrunning the Borg in this beat up shuttle.
Probably not.
Okay.
Power-wise, power is diminishing. You do have enough probably for 2 blasts of phasers, or you could reroute that to the engine to do something that way. You are also powering the dampening field, the hide you in the ion field, energy field that you guys did last time.
Is that still working?
It is. Does appear to still be working.
I think we just wait.
The Borg appear to be heading towards the torpedo.
We just wait. They shouldn't see us. We can't run. I doubt we can fight. Just stay here.
Choice.
See that. Okay. All right. We head back to the dream sequence, because I can't do much for Europa at the moment, because you guys closed the portal.
Yeah, I mean, Mills wants to talk to the Admiral for.
Oh, right, the Admiral. I forgot.
Yeah.
Narendra Station, Admiral Jaro Arolani. Show. You get Admiral Arolani on comms. The comms are pretty solid. There's a little bit of interference that is likely due to your proximity to the Maelstrom. Lieutenant Mills, what can I do for you?
Admiral, I'm terribly sorry to bother you, sir. We have a situation.
Go ahead.
3 of our crew members were sucked into a wormhole into the Delta Quadrant. We were able to open the wormhole and sent a modified torpedo to serve as communications beacon. The captain and commander attempted to reach out to the away team psychically, and something, we are not entirely certain what, caused them to be knocked unconscious. They are both presently in sickbay, still unconscious, and under the care of our medical team. We have closed the wormhole for the moment, as we did receive a message from the away team that stated
requested radio silence, Borg on the planet.
Yes, it stated there were Borg on the planet and requesting radio silence. They would turn the beacon back on when the ion storm had passed. Given Starfleet protocols, we have closed the wormhole to prevent, hopefully, Borg coming through. However, we very quickly had figured out shooting the wormhole with phasers would open it up again, and seems to open it consistently in the same place and time. It won't be long before the Borg figure it out themselves.
I see. And the status of Captain Ambrose?
Captain and Commander are both unconscious at the moment, uncertain when they will regain consciousness.
He types in a couple things real quick. The nearest vessels are 3 days at high warp to your location. I'll be dispatching them immediately, but you must find a way to prevent the Borg from incurring into Federation space.
Sure.
The nearest ship is... He looks again. Appears the Mackinac is on its... Will be on it. I will dispatch the Mackinac immediately. They are the closest vessel. You'll have more behind that. In the meantime, I believe Europa is in your hands, Lieutenant. Keep me informed of the captain's status. I know it's not easy to lose crew members, but if it's a choice between members of...
Better 3 than the entire Starfleet.
Exactly. The Borg coming into this sector could be devastating, not only to the life that is there, but to the entire Alpha and Beta Quadrant.
Sure.
If Ambrose has his confidence in you, I have my confidence in you.
Thank you, sir.
Jaro out.
Eva,
Lieutenant.
how do you close a wormhole permanently?
Speculative resources from Deep Space Nine indicate that it is possible using a number of sources. She throws up on the screen a couple of things that were proposed to close the Bajoran wormhole. Some torpedoes that could... I think it was a neutrino burst. I can't remember. It's not neutrinos though, but it's something like that.
Subspace inversion explosion or
So,
something.
yeah, something like that. That
Let's go with neutrino
Cisco did a
burst.
couple
I like-
times. What's that?
Let's go with neutrino burst. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it would be an anti-neutrino burst because the thing opens with anti-neutrino. So it would be an anti-neutrino burst from a modified warhead. And then she provides the, here's how you would do it. I do believe that Ensign Tong and Lieutenant Tong and Ensign Elizabeth could probably perform this procedure in less than 15 minutes.
Thank you, Eva. Lieutenant Tong and Ensign Hage to the ready room, please.
Right away, Lieutenant.
Pop it into the ready room. They're in the ready room with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, she is. They enter. She sighs. She is not sitting at Ambrose's desk. She's looking a little, still professional and composed, but a little uncomfortable in the captain's ready room. We have a situation that has to be handled quickly and quietly.
Well, I think I can do that as long as it doesn't also need to be done cheaply.
However it gets done. We have to permanently close the wormhole.
Oh well, once we get the crew members back, I'm sure we can figure out a way to seal it if that's what you're.
There are Borg on the other side of the wormhole.
I'm sorry, say that again, man?
There are Borg on the other side of the wormhole.
4 people?
Borg,
Oh, board.
the things that travel in
Right.
the cube.
Right, but yeah, but we can get our crew members back before the Borg show up. Unless, you're not proposing that we leave them behind, are you?
Using your probes, if we open the wormhole again, and you get an idea of how many and where they are, and whether or not they're aware of our existence or our crew's existence.
She bites her nails a second and she thinks about it and she says, Tom, what if we overload the power conduits? Do you think a multiphasic generation would be enough to give us a thorough scan of the planet?
Maybe, probably. But if we can see the Borg, then they can see us.
We can give you maybe one good scan, Lieutenant. They'll know about the probe. They'll know about us, and that's about all we can get.
I don't know. I don't like the Borg. The Borg are bad news. That was fairly sufficiently covered in the academy. You see Borg, you stop that and you leave.
They'll probably be able. The daisy chain will lead them right back to the wormhole. They'll know exactly how we got in.
So we do have to close it then.
We do.
Like we have to. I don't want to leave anybody behind either, but Borg.
In the grand scheme of things, free is a small sacrifice. What about could you use the probes to beam them off planet and onto the ship through the wormhole?
I've never tried beaming through a wormhole before.
Isn't it going to think for a minute?
I mean, theoretically, it's possible we could bounce the transporter signal through the daisy chain, and instead of doing a scanning pulse, we could tie the target lock into the shuttle. That'd be possible. I think theoretically, I've never tried it.
It would be a hell of a trick to maintain fidelity of a transporter beam through over all that distance. I've never heard of somebody beaming from one quadrant to another through a wormhole. We can try. I can't promise we'll succeed.
I'd rather try.
Well, communications work just fine, and a transporter signal isn't all that different from a communication signal. It's just a lot more. There's a lot more to it. So if
well, communication signals are just light. Matter is a whole nother thing, even dissolved matter. I don't know if it'll maintain the same fidelity over that long of a distance. I'm not saying we can't try. I'm not saying that, but we need to be aware of the risks of this. They could disperse into the cosmos. The wormhole could interfere with the data transmission. The shuttle's transporter might not even be powerful enough to get them as far as the wormhole. Shuttles are only designed for interplanetary transport, not interstellar. We can try, but it's risky.
I don't know. I am. If it came down between a choice between being dispersed into the cosmos and getting Borgified, I think I'd rather take my chances with the transporter.
Yezebeth nods eagerly and she says, if it comes down to that or leaving them behind, yeah, we have no choice.
I think that's where we're at, unfortunately.
All right, Lieutenant, I hate to cut this meeting short, but I want to get started on this.
Absolutely. Dismissed.
Come on, Tom.
All right. So what do you guys?
I think she would grab Tom by the arm and pull it. Like she's eager to get started on this.
What are you actually going to be working on? Which thing are you going to actually be doing? Creating the neutrino torpedo, or trying to find a way to get to boost the transporters enough through the daisy chain to be able to interface with the shuttlecraft?
We'll put the B team on the neutrino, since that's the easier thing.
Right. We'll have Coaster do that.
B team.
The B team.
Security,
Chief of security. Chief of engineering. Yeah. So you're gonna work on that. All right.
Yeah, Tong is going to go work some transporter magic.
Yeah.
No, and Yezebeth is going to do whatever she can.
All
All right, let's figure out all the tags we could possibly manage on this thing.
I'm gonna say that we can do it in a single roll, just for time constraints, but if nothing else.
Sure.
I am gonna spend 2 threat. I'm gonna spend more than 2 threat. What I can spend a maximum of 4, 5. How many can I spend there? I can spend 5, right? That'll bring it down to 16 and higher. 4 bring it at 16 or higher for complication. All right, I'm gonna up the complication range to the maximum. I'm going to up the difficulty by 2. I'll up it to 2. So you're looking at a difficulty of, I believe, if you count the other rules in, you're looking at difficulty of 5, which is the highest it can go. You're looking at a complication range of maximum. This would be to actually do the transport roll itself, though, I think. So before we get to that, let's go ahead and see if we can reduce that difficulty through an engineering roll. So right now you're looking at a roll that is going to be maxed out. Like, it cannot get any harder than this to actually the transport. So what you're going to be doing now is seeing if you can find a way to boost signals and reroute power and enhance buffers and compensate for Heisenbergs. So go ahead and give me a roll. This roll will essentially be reducing difficulties on the transport itself roll. So, and we'll say that you can spend the momentum to reduce either difficulty or complication range.
Is the main roll going to be a engineering roll or a science roll?
The main roll for the actual transport or for this roll?
You know what? Never mind. Yezebeth's good at both. Never mind.
Fine. This would be a science roll. The actual transporting is an engineering roll.
No, Yezebeth's good at engineering. We can do both engineering and just I'll do like the setup and then you can do the transport. Does that sound good?
You still have to open the portal first before you can do the transport anyways, but
well, yeah, but we've figured out how to do
that. Yeah. Just so I make sure we're not doing both rolls. You guys are aware we're not doing both rolls for this second. So you're doing the science roll first. So this is science run by Yezebeth with an assist by Tong. Tong will do the actual, I'm assuming, transport roll.
And then can I assist with that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So Yezebeth is going to go into the labs, quickly set a bet, or Yezebeth and Tong are going to go into the labs and quickly begin sciencing up a device that'll let us move the the teleportation particles through the daisy chain.
Right.
All right.
And this is just the rolls to get everything set up, right?
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
So I don't think any of my focuses would apply. I would like you. Can I first draw up the plan for this? in order to take advantage of my talent? We do have a plan right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So I'm creating an advantage with my plan. Okay. So that's 2. So, or that's
3.
that's that's 3. So it gets doubled. So it's 6. I think it's half.
Yeah.
I think it's half. So it's 2 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. With my plan of action.
It looks like Europa helped with 2, and then Tong can also assist.
What am I rolling for this?
I'm guessing probably reason and engineering or reason and science.
Okay. Yeah, reason engineering sounds good. Assist is only a roll of 1 die, right?
Correct.
Complication.
Oh no.
All right. All right. So
does the complication apply? Does the complication being extended apply to both roles?
I'm just gonna take it as threat anyway.
Okay.
Because it doesn't. I don't have anything I can really do there that wouldn't overly complicate the scene already. So I'll take it as my 2 threat. So you've got 2 from Eva, none from Tong, and however many you've got from whatever Elizabeth is doing, right? So how many you got there?
This
difficulty being 2.
Yeah, difficulty being 2. I do plan of action. So I've created a plan. We get advantage on. So Tom will get advantage on his roll, and
which reduces the difficulty to 4, basically.
Yeah, and yeah. So that's drawing up the plan for it. On the roll.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so
you've got how many momentum did you actually obtain? Is what I'm asking.
1, because it's an odd number.
Okay, yeah. So you've got 3 total, right?
Yeah. Oh, so and with the ship assisting would be advantage of 2, so the difficulty goes down by 2.
Okay. So you've got difficulties down to 3, and you've got 3 advantage for this roll, which means you can use that to either reduce the difficulty again or reduce the complication range by 1.
I will reduce the complication range by 1.
All right. So your complication range will be down by 1, and your difficulty will be 3. When you do the actual roll.
So Elizabeth and Tom.
Actually, I had preemptively set my complication range. I actually rolled an 18 on that, not a 20. So if the complication wasn't raised for that roll, it's actually not a complication.
Okay, so that just means I don't get that's fine. I just don't get the threat, which is fine. All right, with that, the difficulty for the actual transport roll is now set, with all of the bonuses and everything else you guys have done. Back to the mind flayer stuff.
No mind flayers. Wrong game.
Is it though? Everything turned to a black, but you kept walking. You saw the Jem'Hadar rush you. You got that moment of panic again, but even against your will, like you felt your body just kind of reset. Even though, and you kind of got this void of where the adrenaline is there, but you can't feel it doing anything anymore. Like you can feel that, you almost get that taste in your mouth from the adrenaline, but it's not doing anything anymore, because you've been medicated, although you don't know that. The room is dark. It's pitch black, but you continue walking. And as you get closer to what in the distance begins to look like something taking shape, it's like almost like like torches in a room, and like a doorway. And as you approach it, It's almost it looks like a fantasy dungeon prison. There's a series of long corridors going off in 3 directions, so left, right, and straight ahead of you. There are a number of cells with bars all over the place, and at the end of the long hallway in front of you, there is a bit more light, and there's one large cell with the bars, but what's beyond it is completely black. You can't see anything beyond that. As you begin walking through the dungeon area, you see inside of each room there are little swirling scenes of things that have happened. Like there's a scene of Kendall being picked on in school. There's a scene of Dasavi yelling at Kendall when she was very young. There's a scene of Kendall struggling to find something that she lost and she just can't locate it. And as you approach closer, you can begin to smell this almost putrid odor of large mammal, like a bear's cave, where there's clearly something that has been eaten and left to rot in this space. And you hear the sound of something large moving at the end of the hallway where that larger cavernous cell is at. What do you guys want to do?
Right, which of us is this supposed to be?
I think it's all intermingled.
Ambrose is just going to keep walking forward.
Right. As you approach,
Bobby's kind of lingering at each scene, and Ambrose is just feeling the mother's heartbreak, watching her child struggle over and over and over.
I think it might be important to realize that, like, you're not detecting psychically anything coming from the cells. Like,
right? Yes.
In fact, you feel that static pushback.
Yeah.
As
soon as you reach out to anything that's in the cells, it just stops.
Yeah.
As you get closer to the end of the hallway, you feel that strong repulsion feeling that you were feeling earlier. It's much stronger here. Like whatever is in front of you wants you to not be here at all. Don't be here. Everything you want, everything in your being, in your mind, and the psychic pressure is almost overwhelming to push you away. Ambrose, you and actually both of you begin hearing some kind of like light music in the background. You can only hear a few of the notes, but that third pressure is just a little bit there. You can hear just a few of the notes coming through. You almost feel like you can recognize it when it goes away. Like it's.
I meant to ask earlier. You'd said end of last session we heard a nursery rhyme.
Yes.
What was the nursery rhyme?
That's this music that you're hearing now. You don't make it out. You don't recognize it at all.
Right. Okay.
Ambrose has this strange sensation of some familiarity with it, but not real close. You're just getting a couple of notes here and there, and it like maybe it's London Bridges or maybe it's something else entirely. But as you approach into that section, you note that there is again that rancid, that putrid stench, and suddenly a flash of motion and something comes from the side and begins rushing towards you. It's about 9 feet tall. It's hairy. It's razor sharp talons. What's that?
6 limbs.
6 limbs. Like it's a cross between a bear and a spider with bat wings kind of thing. Like just horrifying. And it lunges towards you first, Ambrose. And I'm going to go ahead and go first. I'm going to use that creature and before stats because they're the ones I have in front of me.
I think I have something for this, actually.
Sure.
Quick to action. During the first round of any combat, you and your allies may ignore the normal cost to retain it. Okay. Never mind.
That'll go after this one.
Yeah.
So basically it'll go first, then you'll be able to go twice in a row if you want.
Gotcha.
by
Does
using
this thing
that.
actually have 6 limbs and bat wings? Or are you just being hyperbolic?
Yeah, sure, it does.
Oh, okay.
It is this disastrously large, horrifying creature. Pretty much the most horrifying thing you can imagine. And it leaps onto Ambrosis. And you can attempt to counter it. You have a 1.
Right.
You have to beat a 1 for melee.
Okay. And now that I am actually playing my security character, yeah, I have hand-to-hand combat as a focus.
Mm-hmm.
So I can use my focus there. Yep. And I think that's the only thing I need to worry about here. We don't have any momentum, do we?
You're not. I don't have any threat either, though. So there.
I have bold. It's been a long time since I've fought. Okay. Whenever you use a test with this discipline, that discipline being security, and you buy 1 or more d20s by adding threat, you may re-roll a single d20. So I will give you a threat for an extra die, and I can re-roll one of these if necessary.
Okay. Oh,
I don't
jeez.
think it's necessary.
No, you succeed, and you have a lot of momentum there, which gets added into the pool. So you've got, 4 momentum added to the pool. 3 and 4. Okay. It is now one of you guys' turns. I guess since it is closest to Ambrose, I will say Ambrose goes first.
Do I roll damage on that? Did I actually hit it back?
That's technically, I'm not sure that's how that
Or is
works.
that just a dodge?
I mostly just had you dodging on that case.
On melee attacks, if you succeed, you do damage.
No, yeah, all right.
And
I know I had that as a house rule. I don't remember if it was a real rule or not.
It's a real.
So yes, you can. If you want to do counter to counter to damage, you can.
Okay. Yeah. No, I guess I didn't add melee. What is the base melee? It is
Difficulty 1.
Hand-to-hand damage is 1, I believe.
Yeah, hand-to-hand damage.
Oh, damage is 1, I think. Yeah.
Just 1 plus security.
Yes.
Cool. 6 die there. Okay. That's a whole bunch of symbols.
That seems like too many symbols.
Yeah, that is too many. Just click it again and it should do it right this time.
Yeah, because that's like, I don't know. What's your security can't be 8.
No, it's 5. I have in that box there. 6.
Oh, yeah. In the box, make it 1 because it adds it automatically.
Yeah.
There you go. That seems more. That first one was really good though.
Yeah.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
I mean,
4.
we could just take the first 5.
I could. I'll do that if you want. So that would be 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 damage and 2 effects. The only thing you can do with unarmed is try to knock down. It doesn't have any effects. The unarmed. The only effect for unarmed is knockdown. You have 4 momentum though, so you can do stuff with the momentum as well.
Okay, so I can knock it down.
You can try to knock it down.
Okay.
Theoretically, yes, the effect would allow you to knock it down.
Okay.
I would probably, in this case, I'm likely to spend a threat to say you can't knock it down, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, if I have an effect that allows me to do that, I will attempt to do that, and then you can
spend the threat to not do it. So
okay.
You go to knock it down, and it does not get knocked down. You hit it, and it hits against the cage and does not go down. You can, however, still spend your momentum if you want to.
I don't think I'm going to worry about that on an unarmed attack.
Okay. In that case, let me do damage.
But it would then go back to our turn.
Yeah, it becomes your turn. I need to do the damage though. It's got resistance, so it takes 3. And it is now, we'll say, Ambrose's turn.
Okay. We've established that I have a phaser.
Yes.
I assume only a type 2.
Yes.
Okay. So these boxes on this sheet already incorporates
Your security rules, stat. Yeah.
security.
I
Okay.
had to. It took me a while to figure that out this morning when I was trying to set up
Yeah.
these NPCs. Like, what is the actual? I know how many I want it to actually roll. How do I make it roll that?
That attack I made with Gisum was probably wrong then. Oh well.
That's okay.
Okay. So again, our once per season combat. This has the charge quality. Can I do anything fancy because of that?
So charge allows you to do additional damage or a few other things.
Piercing,
piercing.
a lot of different things.
Yeah. So if prepared, a creature may add area of effect, intense, piercing 2, or vicious 1.
Piercing 2 gets through armor, and then vicious 1 does extra damage.
Right.
Yeah.
And intense. Intense makes it harder to avoid injury.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's charge this up for some well, I can buy piercing with momentum. So I think I am going to charge it up to intense to make it more difficult to avoid injury.
Okay.
And then I need to control security to actually shoot, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And difficulty to shoot is 2.
Difficulty to shoot is 2. I will bold once more. I will give you a threat. So I can roll 3 dice and re-roll a 20 d20 if I need to. I don't think I need to.
3 to hit or 4 to hit, right? That hits.
4, yeah.
That hits and offers 2 momentum that you may use again. Roll damage.
Okay. This is my
Type 2.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage and 4 effects. So that's actually pretty good because, well, let's say this is not because you used your charge for intense, which is fine. It does intense damage and it does 2, but you have 6 momentum that you can use to do additional damage if you want to, or penetration or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I will buy 1 penetration to get through resistance.
Okay. That is 1 to get through 2. And you have 5 more momentum.
5 more momentum. I mean, I don't need to spend them all. I can save them for something else.
Correct.
We only have. Did you put the 5 momentum up already?
I did. Oh, I knocked 1 off already. So
Okay.
it only goes up to 6. So
Right. That's what. That's why I was asking. We have 5 sitting right now.
you have 5 sitting momentum. Yes.
I would spend 2, Jack.
For another instance of piercing.
For 2 more damage, because that'll give you over a crit. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I'll buy extra damage.
Yes, it would. So, all right, 2 more for extra damage. That gives you 5 damage, 2 piercing, so that gets you through its armor because it had an armor of 2, not armor, but resistance of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is an injury. It is going to attempt to avoid the injury, which is 1 harder because of your thingy there. I think to avoid an injury, I have to actually spend threat, which I can't do because I only have 1. I'd have to spend 3 to avoid an injury. So it takes a wound and it drops to the ground because in this game, one injury is basically unconscious. Or not totally unconscious, but basically. It drops to the ground. And as it crumples to the ground, it is a young Kendall. Normal aged Kendall. She's young. But Kendall, you have basically just shot Kendall. And she's now lying on the ground. Yes. First time for Ambrose.
Yeah, that's true.
Can I add that maybe now you make the connection that creature that she was is a creature you've seen her draw as a child, just a monster. So, but yeah, she transformed. Now you realize that this is Kendall, and I think she's just gonna mutter, "I have have to keep it in, have to stop it. And then maybe the big cell rattles. Is that okay, Jeff?
Yeah.
Wasabi will kneel down by her and stroke her hair. Shh, it's okay. It's you're okay. We're here.
You don't understand. It killed them. It killed all of them.
Killed who?
Doctor.
I think the cells rattle again.
Yeah.
Without the monster to keep it in, it seems to have grown bold.
Define, you are noticing that again the heart rates go up. There's a lot of energy. The delta waves are fluctuating heavily for all three of the main three that are there. And at one point, you note that one of the delta waves, one of the three mains of delta waves, Kendall's delta waves, because you've got them identified, has a pretty dramatic shift as Ambrose's heart rate and stuff go up. You gonna do anything?
Yes, I think she's going to look at his heart rate going up, and she's going to say, oh, "I've got an idea. What if we shock them out of it? It'll be traumatic. It may be traumatic, but I think it'll be worse. I think it'll be worse if we don't." And so she's going to try and she is not going to stop his heart rate from increasing, but she's going to increase it herself to
To initiate a response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to break his brain, at least temporarily, so
Right.
that way it stops the mind melt.
So are you going to go with the heart, or you want to go like the cortical stimulators, the brain stimulator things that they use on the show?
Yeah,
You're going for brain or heart is the question.
Brain.
All right.
Yeah.
Give me a. Who's that? What again? Someone say something. All right. Give me a daring medicine roll.
Okay.
I would say emergency medicine applies there.
All right. Sounds good. I'm going to use all three of those momentum there.
Okay. I'm going to spend 1 to increase your threat range, your complication range.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, nice. 2, 4, and a complication. So you've got 4 successes and a complication. Yeah. So while you're in the dream state, you're Dasavi, you've gone over to Kendall, and she's talking to you. And what were you about to say, Ambrose? Sounded like you were going to say, you had said doctor with some urgency.
Yeah, else? Ambrose was just calling for the doctor to make some sense out of all this.
Gotcha.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so Dasavi says, killed who?
At which point, Kendall begins to speak, but you can't hear anything. And the two of you begin waking up. There's a bright light over your heads, and Ambrose, you are staring up. As your eyes clear, you're staring up at the Denobulin nurse. You guys have come back to.
Yeah, I'm brought out from increasing my stimulus to the point where it woke me up, right?
Right. You're overstimulated to the point where you had
so
no
I think
no choice.
As I wake up, I just like lunge towards Delphine and like grab her by the collar and like half throw myself off the bed.
She's going to grab your arms and Captain, I know you've been through an experience, but you need to calm down.
Okay. My apologies. What?
She's going to lower you back to bed. She's going to.
What's the situation?
You were in some kind of a mind meld with 3 other people, including the doctor and Ensign Oniet, and I'm not sure who the other one is. Now, I'll answer your questions, but I need to attend to Dr. Oniet.
Right.
She's going to look to Oniet, and that thing worked so well, she'll try it again.
She's waking up too, so.
Oh, okay, great.
She's already waking up, yeah.
Perfect. She is waking up and like frantically. No, I have to go back.
The only thing you have to go back to is bed, and she's going to shove Disabi back down onto the.
She's stuck there. We were so close.
I know.
I know she's alone. Again.
If you 2 are alive, then she is, I'm sure.
Alive, yes, but still alone and stuck in her head by herself with whatever that was.
Right now, my concern is you, Dr. Onian. You know as well as I do. You need to Dr. Heal thyself first.
I was fine.
We don't know yet. Let me finish running scans on you. You've just been through a traumatic event.
Ambrose takes this time to get up and start making his way to the door.
And she's going to, at this point, she's not going to stop you. She can't keep both of you.
Right. So Ambrose is headed to the bridge. You managed to get Disabi to not inject herself with something to go back to sleep.
Yeah, she'll settle for a couple scans just to make sure, like, she's sure if Disabi's okay, then Ambrose is probably okay. So she'll just do a couple quick scans, then release Disabi.
All right.
And she's satisfied that they're not going to keel over.
Before we get to releasing Disabi, back aboard the shuttle, both Jisa and O'Connor, you see again the muscle movements and the rapid eye movements and whatnot of Kendall, and you can see on the scan the waves, the delta waves and all that changing a little bit here and there. And then her heart rate shoots way up and then drops to almost not nothing, but it drops really, really low. And her blood pressure and stuff go way down, but she starts coming to, but it looks like she's, statistically speaking on the chart, it looks like she's been lightly stunned by a phaser. There's no damage obviously that you can see, but that's the what it looks like, but she does begin to come to.
Kendall's going to be saying, Mom, I'm, and then she's going to realize she's on the shuttle and shouldn't be talking about her mother.
Rise and shine, sunshine.
O'Connor's just sitting, next to her. Welcome back.
What happened? How long have I been out?
An hour, maybe a little
Probably.
more.
It feels like it. It feels like my whole life.
You okay? You were a little twitchy, and your heart was really fast for a minute there.
She'll touch her head as if, like, trying to gauge if she's okay, and then she'll reluctantly say, "Yeah, I'm still okay. Everything's still good."
I assume Jisa is still looking out the window for the most part, watching the sensors and watching the Borg.
Yeah, so Jisa is over at the weapons console, preparing to set them into critical overload.
Okay.
Love it.
Okay.
She's not raising power levels or anything. She's not initiating anything.
Right.
Right. Yeah, if we're detected, she's going to blow this whole thing up.
Okay.
Being assimilated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She's not having that.
You see on the sensors that the Borg spend several minutes inspecting the technology, and then scanning around the area. At which point, one of them appears to be scanning closer, and like the scan beam that you can see in the ion storm, in all the dirt and dust that's being swept up. The scan heads, it kind of goes over where the shuttle would be, and the scan then shuts off, and the 5 Borg begin turning and heading towards you. They're pretty far away. They're on scanners. You're talking. They're still. It took you over an hour over 15 minutes to get here on foot, so they're probably going to be about as long. But they are definitely headed your way.
Okay. I think they see us.
So there's Borg out there. The Europa sent a beacon, unfortunately, to try, and
So that's it then.
welcome back. Sorry.
It's been nice knowing you. Look,
Yeah.
Jisa, I'm sorry I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Gonna set it to basic overload when they get close enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you
if you two want to take your chances out there, I wouldn't blame you, but I can vaporize a nice little crater right here.
I think you're right. Better that than assimilation.
Later seems faster, at least.
Take them out with us.
Yep.
all right.
I feel like now's the perfect time to beam out.
Almost. You guys,
Yeah.
you start setting it up. Jesus got it all set up to go, and all you gotta do is basically hit one button, and it'll vaporize the shuttle and probably about a square kilometer around it, or a cubic kilometer, really, at this point. Ambrose makes his way onto the bridge as Mills is ready to do whatever Mills is gonna do.
So as Ambrose is entering the bridge, Mills is telling Tong and Yesbeth, we have one shot. We get that phasic. My brain is stopped again.
The transporters.
No, the transporters, but also the, hell with his wormhole.
Yes.
Yes, that thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Coaster has finished the bomb, is what you're at. Yeah.
We have one try, and one only. We don't try again. If it fails, that bomb goes immediately after.
Well,
if you're the praying type, start praying.
If it fails, I'm not sure there'll be anything left to try again with.
Right.
Let's do it.
Proceed.
All right. Silva fires, or the SSH or Coaster or Koba or somebody fires the phasers, and the wormhole opens. Go ahead and give me the roll, Tong, with the assist by Yezabeth. The difficulty of the roll is 3. The complication range is 4.
Okay. How many character sheets can I use today? Let's get Varen up on the bridge. Okay, where am I? I'm at Tom. All right. Well, I'm sure my focus in transporters applies.
Yes.
And Tong is very proud of being the transporter guy. I mean, it's a big ship. We have multiple transporter pads, multiple rotations. There's plenty of people who can push the knobs up and down. But Tong is the transporter guy. And he's worked transporter magic before. So I would like to tap into my value. I have to do everything to live up to the confidence others have in me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to use that to buy 2 successes.
What does intense scrutiny get you?
Intense scrutiny revolves around extended tasks.
All right, doesn't apply.
Yeah.
So either control or daring and engineering is your role, with an assist of roughly the same. You could either do daring or control and science or engineering for Yezabeth.
Okay. So for my science, I feel like my troubleshooting focus could apply to this, because we would have made sure absolutely nothing could go wrong.
Right.
Before.
It would also be, I could see it using to you're using troubleshooting at if anything is going wrong, you can adjust the Heisenberg compensators or add power to the whatever you need to do, the resolution scanner, the confinement beam, all that stuff. The rapid adjustments that maybe need to be made.
Yeah.
The ship doesn't have anything that particularly applies here.
I mean, it's got the transporters themselves could assist.
The ship will assist. I was looking at its talents. The only thing that would even come close would be advanced sensor package, but I don't think that really applies. So in this case, we use computers and I'm going to say engineering for the ship to assist.
Actually, my assist is just a 0 because it's a 16, and I forgot that we actually reduced that complication range by 1.
Right.
So.
Okay.
So complication range is 4.
Complication range is 4.
Okay. I will give you a threat for another die.
Well, that is a complication.
Boy. You said difficulty 3, right?
Difficulty is 3.
And I'm buying 2 with my value, so.
Yeah, so you got to get 1 success and preferably no complications.
I got 3.
3.
I'll take 3.
As the Borg begin approaching the shuttlecraft, Jisa, they're getting closer. You can see them coming over the ridge. Jisa, you're getting ready to push the button. You guys have your last longing looks of at each other, like, this is it. And as your hand goes towards the button, you begin to dematerialize.
Can this be I'd set it into overload, so it's building up. Can it still go off?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. In fact, we'll do that. Let's do.
I think it's more interesting if the ship starts to explode as we start materializing out.
That's actually what I had originally intended to do, and I didn't think about that. But yeah, so as the ship is as you push the button, you begin to dematerialize. The ship is blowing up all around you. You guys can see through the material haze that is doing that. There is some disruption on the side of Tong and Yezabeth. You feel there's a huge energy surge that hits the transporters. Yezabeth, you managed to do some compensating. You're trying to bleed off some of that energy and whatnot. You managed to bleed it all off as they begin to as they rematerialize. But as they're going, the transporter pad itself overloads and fries out. The council explodes, and Tong takes some damage as the console explodes. That is more than I wanted it to do. I'll take the first 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. The effects don't do anything. So Tong, you are thrown against as the console explodes, you are thrown back against the wall, and the whole world kind of goes black. You've been singed kind of heavy from the console exploding. which is your complication. But Jisa, O'Connor, and Kendall all materialize. It takes several longer than necessary seconds for the materialization process to end. Rather than it being a quick 5-second transport, it takes almost 14 seconds for the transfer to complete. As the pads power down and the lights go dim, it is Yezebeth standing at the edge of one of the panels, looking at you guys. Tong is on the ground, and the three of you are now sitting on the transporter pad of the Europa.
Mills from the bridge will call out to fire the bomb.
Yeah.
Torpedo goes off. It explodes. There's a huge rock on the ship as the wormhole expands and then collapses in on itself. A rush of chronoton particles and neutrinos go flying everywhere in the region. The Europa is rocked. Several hull breaches are reported across the ship as it is rocked. Well, you guys are still outside the nebula. I know you guys are still outside, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so none of that happens. The relay, the ship, it still goes up and down and explodes. The relay.
Ambrose walks on the bridge like, "What do you do to my ship?"
Oh God! No, the relay, as the wave comes washing through from the explosion, all the stations, all the points of the relay are overwhelmed and they're destroyed immediately. And the wave comes washing out of the nebula, out of the maelstrom itself, and hits the Europa. But shields were up and the damage is fairly minimal. A couple of stations burst with sparks here or there. But damage reports come in quickly that there's only minor injuries and no substantial damage to the ship. Anybody want to do anything else?
I think Mills will kind of sink back into the captain's chair with just like all of the stress that she's been wearing starting to ooze, and she will Lieutenant Tong and Yezebeth report.
Lieutenant Tong is injured. I'm taking him to sick bay.
The others?
They're here. They're alive.
Good work. Get them to sick bay as well.
So, with the inability to do a emergency transport, she will yell at some crewmen outside. Get a portable stretcher. We're doing this old fashioned. I mean, I think that the three other people could probably walk fine. Yezebeth will go up to Jashin and she'll be like, are you okay? Yeah, I can't believe that worked. We just beamed you from another quadrant.
Yeah, while I was blowing up the shuttle. Good timing.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Thank God we didn't stop for coffee on the way. Come on, let's get you to sick bay. I'm sure they're going to check it.
Yeah, fine.
All right. With that, does anybody have any other scenes they want to throw out real quick? Because otherwise, that's not a half bad place to go ahead and wrap it up. The crux of the episodes are over, and it's kind of at this point the afterbirth.
The aftermath.
It's what they call it in writing. So
okay.
Ambrose is going to go over to Mills and just kind of pat her shoulder.
She will look up and see and stand to attention. Sir, welcome back. And step aside so we can have his chair.
Go get yourself some rest. I can wait on a status report. It seems everything is in order.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to turn to the SSH. What are you doing on my bridge?
That's a good
Silva
place
will
to-
just do a quick shrug to the captain.
Nice.
Before she goes to quarters, she will inform the admiral that the captain is back up. We
Right.
necessarily need to do a scene just
No,
for
that's fine.
flavor and such.
I feel like we need to do the reunion between Dasavi and Kendall. But do we want to save that for next time?
I think we should save that for next time. I think that's going to be a longer scene
Yeah, I'm done.
than what we have time for tonight.
All right.
No, I'm good.
All right. In that case, let's the credits start to roll for the episode, not for the show that we're doing currently. But yeah, we'll go ahead and leave it there. What moment stands out most to you this evening?
Oh, it was all good.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I think the badassery of Tong and Yezbeth making that transporter work.
Yeah, whose idea? I think it was your idea, though. Right?
I think so.
Yeah. It was a good idea.
I was getting ready to type it in the chat, be like, "Hey guys, you might want to try something like this." And then she said it, and I'm like, "Yes, that is what I was thinking."
Tong was working his way to that after he got over minor Borg crisis.
Right.
It was a great idea. So kudos to you for that.
Anybody else have a moment that stands out? I know everybody all said pretty much all of it stands out, but
this episode was just character whiplash for me. Just
yeah.
There was a lot going on. Who best embodied their character in this session, do you think? I really liked Jisa. I thought that whole thing with the monster and the going out and all that stuff, I thought that was really...
Yeah.
I thought Jisa was dead multiple times over this episode.
I like Mills. I thought Mills did a lot of good stuff. I want to see this inform Mills' character.
Yeah.
I feel like Mills got a lot of good stuff this session.
Yeah.
I think Mills
really
having
like
an internal panic most of the session.
You know, the key isn't whether you panic. The key is whether you act good while you're panicking.
Right. Courage isn't the absence of fear; it's the completion of tasks despite it.
She was definitely the better character to have in charge of that, or the easier character, I think, for me to have in charge of that situation, because she's so pragmatic. She's like, "Yep, if I got to lose 3 people, I got to lose 3 people. Is what it is." Dasavi would have not been able to make that call. She would have struggled so hard with that.
It's too bad, because that would have been maybe the moment when Dasavi's like, "I can't be XO, I can't do it."
That would have been fun. But anyway, it was good, and I really enjoyed getting to put Silva in like the you know what, I felt like she was a little bit Starfleet intelligence there, just quoting protocol on this kind of situation.
Yeah.
I liked the end bit on the planet where Kendall finally, like, all of that angst softened. I really like that little, just the smallest scene.
Yeah,
was huge for both of them.
Yeah, I think even Jisa seemed to have softened a little bit there. A little bit. That's what it seemed like. That's what that moment seemed to me anyway.
That was a conciliatory, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I understand you are saying this because you think you are going to die right now. I still don't care.
Okay.
No, that's not how I interpreted it at all.
No, that's not how that read.
That's not how I read it at all.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
All right. I'd say, what moment best exemplifies a person's character to you? I think the again, Jisa, the fighting the dog creature thing, and the not giving up, the running forward and charging it thing. I thought that was a pretty good moment that exemplified that character. Anybody else have one?
I think Delphine taking control in the emergency situation without losing her ego in it, because we've seen a lot of Delphine ego. We've seen Delphine skill. Today we got to see Delphine skill without the ego.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else got a moment that exemplified a character for them?
We obviously got a lot of Kendall today.
We did.
I liked seeing Ambrose in the dreamscape. Like, I liked his reactions to like the Jem'Hadar in there, and
I thought you showed real. I mean, obviously you intentionally did so, but I thought the growth, seeing that the growth that the character has been going through applied. I think that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I was if Delphine didn't anesthetize or whatever Ambrose at that moment, I was going to play out that whatever situation he found himself in next, he was just going to deck whoever was closest.
Right. What did you or your character learn today, if anything?
That my daughter has monsters inside her head.
The Borg are terrifying.
Yeah.
I knew that.
I think that's new information now.
Yeah. And all we had to do was see them on screen. They didn't even do
Yeah.
anything on screen.
I don't know. The Borg are probably like they're like the big fear of mine. Like you throw a xenomorph at me, yeah, it's gonna kill me, but that's fine. You throw me on Clendathu or whatnot, but Borg, no. I don't know.
This being stripped of your humanity for the betterment of the machine. We're not done with them, I don't think.
Oh, I hope not.
I'm eager to see more of those, the Picard or the aliens who.
The Bishari. Yeah.
I'm eager to see more of them.
Time permitting, I was going to have them come back, but time did not permit. So
no,
there was already so much going on today.
Yes,
it wasn't appropriate this time, but I do hope they come back.
But you got to see one, and now you've got this idea of what's they're now aware of you.
Yeah, sure, we attracted their attention.
Anybody have a good idea, bad idea?
Good idea. Setting the initial scene within the aftermath of the Dominion War. Bad idea that we didn't plan at the time went better. I should have talked to you, Evelyn, about like what their home life would have been like, and maybe that would have helped me plan, get some ideas for that a little bit better.
I pulled my character history up just to try and reference after I'd said, and like it's been so long since I wrote that history. I had half that shit wrong. That's okay. It's fine.
That's all right. It's not real until it's on screen. So
right.
Exactly. It's a dreamscape anyway.
It's a dreamscape anyway.
Never make any sense.
And things clearly didn't fit because you're at one point there's Ambrose and cadets in Jem'Hadar prison camp for no reason.
Oh, I love the Jem'Hadar prison camp. That was all good. Putting the Starfleet Academy in the melding the two of those was perfect, and like you did a really good job, like having similarities and differences. I just wish we'd been able to make that first scene as strong as that. And that's I feel like that's my, but anyway.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything for that, or if you could change one thing about the session, what would you have changed?
I already mentioned mine. Everything else was great. I got no complaints. I would have, you know what? I will say I would have loved if Jisa had let her guard down a little at the when things were about to blow.
I felt like she did. So
I felt like she did too, but apparently she didn't. So I kind of wish she had. But okay. That's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
Anybody else have anything they'd like to change about the session?
I don't think so.
All right.
It was a good game.
All right. Let's go ahead and say that there is an arc milestone on the table for anyone who wants one, including secondary characters that were portrayed. I thought this was a pretty big storyline that went on for 3 or 4 sessions and 5 sessions, however long it's been. Well, if you count, I think it was 4 if you don't count the stuff before. Just in the Maelstrom, I think it was 4, but I'll have to look it up and see. Either way, it doesn't matter. It was a pretty big storyline, and I think there was a lot that happened. So,
4, yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4. I don't have anything else, unless you guys want to add or subtract anything from the proceedings.
We didn't get that faceplate. It's still in the shuttle that exploded.
Oh no!
It also
the whole reason we were in this mess.
You also left the data recorder.
Shit.
Yep. Everything you guys went out there to do is,
gone. All gone.
What can you do? Sometimes that happens.
Yep. All right.
We blew up some Borg.
Yep. You theoretically, as far as you know, killed 5 Borg. Maybe the first one got hit and the last 3 adapted. They don't adapt that fast. All right, I got nothing else. You guys got anything else? All right, we'll see you guys next time.